welcome back to another episode of the TreeTopChat. I hope you had a great week and you're doing well. Last week we spoke to Eric Björkman in Swedish, so if you missed that episode, you can find it out on any of your favorite platforms. So today we're at episode number 49, which means that we are approaching the magic number of 50. So a bit of a store update. We're getting new things into the store all the time here, so check out some stuff that we put on the website. We have more crown bracing products, some new stuff from Edlerid and some other things as well. Today we'll be speaking to Pierre, which is a great arborist and tree care company just north of Stockholm. Pierre has some great experience as an arborist, and he has recently become Arbortech's ambassador in the Nordic countries. So as usual, if you have any questions for Pierre, let us know in the comment field below. There he is. Welcome. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It was just, I still have some customers here in the parking lot. They just, took half the store with them. So we had, very little time to prepare. They've been here for about an hour and a half, actually.
Ah, okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
do you
good.
see me good here with the light? Maybe I have too much light in the background, or?
Well, given the recent weather, it's kind of nice to see a blue sky in the background there. So
certainly is.
It's fine as it is.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Do you see me now? Well, you tell
So,
me if you don't see me.
That's all right. We'll see you perfectly. Are you in your home office or?
Well, actually, we rent. My mother has in her house here also. She has like a spare apartment that me and my wife we rent it for an office space. Yeah. Since we have
nice.
we have 4 kids and one 75-kilo dog, so when we need to work inside, it's good to have our separate space. Yeah.
Cool. Pierre, let's get into the standard question. How did they get into the industry and why?
Yeah, so basically, I have in Swedish we say that we want to have green fingers, that one like to do garden work and tree work and stuff like that. So I have that from my parents, the love for garden and nature, yeah. And then one of my cousins, Patrick Coulter, he is a certified arborist for 17 years back. So, I've been hanging with him, and he's been helping me and some neighbors and all. And then 1 year ago, I helped them because they had a very hectic period, so they couldn't stay in touch with their clients. So I took that over as a concierge service, and I started planning their jobs with their customers that contacted me, and that worked out really fine. And I have been like in between jobs for a couple of years. I took care of my aunt that got really sick, so I've left my original job or base formation, and been thinking what I should do. And one thing led to another, and then this break of the year into 2021, then we said, let's form Sigtuna Arboristgrupp. Yeah, so it was one thing led to another, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah.
So, to our international and, maybe non-Stockholm listeners, tell us a little bit about Sigtuna. You seem to appreciate Sigtuna a lot, and, I have some history from there as well. So, but tell us about Sigtuna. It's a very old city.
Yeah, so Sigtuna is as far as we know, the oldest city in Sweden. There's another that's called Birka, which they normally they go hand in hand, but sometimes the Birka is the oldest and sometimes Sigtuna is the oldest. But however that is, Sigtuna at least is the first capital of Sweden. Was the first capital of Sweden. That dates back to like 900 and something 20. So it's a fantastic small town, and it's super well preserved. Many parts of the Sigtuna is from the mid 17th and 18th century. So, it's an absolutely fantastic place. And I lived abroad for some 11, 12 years. And, I always saw myself returning to Sigtuna. And my wife, she's from Sigtuna also, but we met in Stockholm, some 14 years ago. And we moved back when we were expecting our first child. So Sigtuna has a really big place in my heart, as well as many others.
Yeah, it's I know it's beautifully situated. You know, when you have a mailer and you know
Yeah.
coming in there as well. So it's
Balek Marin.
very
And
nice.
also, you know, one thing that is really nice is that it's a vivid small center if you want. So many centers in not only in Sweden but also in France or England, as far as I know, they like modernize it in the sense they make these big shopping malls, so it more or less like destroy the core center. But here in Sigtuna, you
Yeah,
can literally wander around for quite some time, and you know there's almost no modern or recent buildings. So
I,
it's really well preserved. It's absolutely something to look at. And with internet,
I
you know, Sigtuna, love Sigtuna.
yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful city.
It is.
I know.
And it's also,
So
you know, really well situated because we are right in between more or less Uppsala and Stockholm. We have the airport of Arlanda really close. So you live like
yeah,
out, you know, in the semi-countryside if you want, but still you're just 1 or 2 clicks away from the dead center of Stockholm if you wanted to do that.
yeah,
It's really fantastic, actually. Yeah, with Lake
nice,
Mälaren,
nice,
as you said. Mhm.
exactly. Since you're in Sigtuna, do you operate in that proximity, or you know, you seem to be all around Stockholm,
Yeah, but and
where do you operate?
so mainly the Sigtuna territorial jobs. So I cooperate with one of the realtors also in Sigtuna that's called Överholms Realtor, and I help them, or at least their clients, to do curbside appeals to fix the gardens before they are put the houses out for sale. So that is quite lot of like landscaping job, and it's getting more and more, which is fantastic. And then the tree jobs, you know, I'm like those talking dolls, but I pull my string myself. So I know everybody. My kids, they love, hate to walk with me in Sigtuna. It's one step and then stop to talk to someone. So it's natural that I do a lot of work here in Sigtuna. However, the jobs that we get like in Stockholm or Drottningholm or other places, it's my cousins. So under my parasol of Sigtuna Arboristgrupp, so I have 4 or 5 arborists, and we have 3 like how do you say, skogsmästare woodmans, and I have 10 like green garden workers. And everybody have their own company, and we cooperate really. So sometimes my cousin Patrick, he pulls in the jobs, and so that's why we move quite a lot. But still, we have the center here in Sigtuna and the proximity of Sigtuna.
Oh, nice,
Mm.
nice. You know, tell us a little bit more about your company. You know, how has it been running that? In the, you know, you talk about your colleagues and everybody's kind of self-employed, but you know, how does it work out in general running a company like that?
Yeah, so basically what we have done, and this I've been doing for a couple of years, because in wintertime I do plowing. So I have plowing missions because I have some fantastic vehicles that I love to ride. And a couple of years ago, I got the question of a guy that I know here in Sigtuna that asked me if I could help him to do some plowing in the winter with my machines that are quite more narrower than a tractor. And I started to do
Yeah,
that, and I love to ride. So one thing again led to another, and I had a lot of spare time on my hands because basically I took care of my aunt, and then I do day trading. So I didn't, you know, work in that sense for quite some years. And raising 4 kids, I really wanted to be present, and still do. So uh, and over these years, I've been looking for people that I, as a client, wanted to buy services from. You know, landscaping, gardening, pruners, many categories. And I've been really working my way through like a bunch of them. And finally, I've ended up with people that I really love and trust, you know, and they have become really good friends. So this is how this arborist group, or this group, was created. So each and every one, apart from my cousin, each and every one, it's people that I have bought services from as a client for 14, 15
okay,
years time. And so, you know, we love to work and interact with each other. So this is how we do it. So basically, what we do to have the economy going, our personal and our joint economy. So what we do is that we have the market price, is fixed towards the client, but then we sell each other to a reduced price. So,
Okay.
if I pull in a felling job, my cousin, he sells himself for like a bit less an hour to me, and I take the market price from the customer. And if he takes in the job, it's vice versa. And this is how all of us work in the
Okay.
group. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Well, that's a good setup.
it is because you still have to reach the the real or correct price towards the client, obviously, so I put quite a lot of time into. If one of us in the group puts a lot of time in pulling customers in, that's also a job that needs to be paid. So the one who
Yeah, good.
fixes the client or the job, that person will get like the bigger part of it because you have the administrative work, you're going out and looking at the job site and all. Hmm?
Yeah. But you've been running companies before, what is your best experience from running this company as opposed to the other things you've done in the past?
No, it might sound cheesy, but it's like with kids. I have 4 kids, and I love all 4 of them 100%. How is that possible? And this is how I've been. I'm like I really try to enjoy the now, the present. You know, so it's great. And also, when you come into a business when you are a bit older, I'm 51, then you have done not all mistakes in your life, but a fair deal of them. So I kind of know what I want that is important for me, you know. And
Yeah.
I found a hole in the market that needed to be filled, and we try to fill it as good as we can.
Cool.
Mhm.
Very good. Just for information, we lost you a little bit for a while there, but now you're back, so that's good.
Yeah.
But you ventured into some other industries as well. I remember this winter I saw you were offering snow clearing and plowing as well. But
Yes.
do many other things than that? We talked about landscaping and stuff, but you've been doing some other things in your life as well. Can you tell us about
Yeah.
some other knowledge that you have that you told me about before?
Yeah, so my first formation, if in the gymnasium, if you want, I became a carpenter. So I went to carpenting school because I really didn't know what to do with my life. It was literally carpeting school or being a lawyer. But I was not in the mood when I was going to start the gymnasium to study. So it was my parents who said, instead of going to study, a more theoretical course, get yourself information and buy time and see what it leads to. So that was fantastic. I worked as a carpenter for 2 years, and then I ventured into re-educating. In Sweden you have the possibility to do the gymnasium at a higher age. That's called komvux. So it's like the 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 school, the gymnasium school, but for grown-ups, if you want. So I did a double course there, and then I started to study. And as I was studying, I did lots of my studying at the restaurant or coffee shop here in Sigtuna. And at that time, my brother is a chef. So he was going to France. We have French roots. So he had gotten a job at a one-star Guide Michelin restaurant outside of Nice. And he took off there, and again, one thing led to another. Our family, the part of the family that lives still in France, are vignerons, winemakers. So I've seen that for many times. I was like, yeah, I've always loved people. I'm like a estradeur. So I stumbled into the waiter as waiter. So the next time my brother went out to France, I went down with him. And then I was 18 years old, no, 19 or 20 years old. And I absolutely love that, to be in France, to be in the restaurant scene. So I started studying to become a sommelier. So, you know, when I tell you this, I realized myself that most of the stuff that I've been doing has been started in more or less the same fashion, you know.
Yeah.
I stumbled into that, and I came into that business, and I thought it was fantastic. So that's when I started to add, you know, knowledge, like studying. I think I was the first class at the Restaurant Academy in Stockholm. So I got my sommelier exam in 1991, where there was basically no sommeliers in Stockholm. Yeah, so I stumbled in and I specialized in that. And my brother and I ended up running a one-star Guide Michelin restaurant here in Stockholm that was called Gässlingen. And I think that we still, you know, some 20, 25 years later, I think we still hold the North European record of the fastest getting a star in Guide Michelin. Yeah.
Nice. Is that purely based on skills, or you know, how could you do that so fast?
No, it's not to be humble, but it's multiple factors, because they have it's once a year, it's cyclical, it's once a year that they do the nominees for that. You know, it's like the Oscars. You cannot win the Oscars half a month before, even if you're do the best job ever. So it's the same with this. So it was part luck, because when we got the restaurant up and running, it really was a really good restaurant even before we came, but then we like topped it off. So that was luck, that part, you know, calendar wise, it was lucky, but we really were going off the chart. And back in like 20 years old, we did hardcore, super traditional French high gastronomy. Nobody was doing that at the time, especially not in Sweden. Some parts in France, it wasn't, you know, a la mode, but we did it in a way, and they found us, and I thought that, you know, this is really something special. It was absolutely fantastic. We had like 25 seating customers, and I think we were like 7 of us working, you know, so it was absolutely fantastic experience.
Cool.
Mm.
Yeah, it sounds like a very, very nice experience. You know, I've been to you know, a couple of these restaurants, and it's just absolutely fantastic. You know, the food they serve. I also been to a two-star Michelin restaurant in France,
Uh,
and you know, that was not really my thing. You know, they were serving like a rabbit with like a, you know, chewing gum in butter.
yeah, it's special. I mean, sometimes it's like with art. Sometimes art becomes so, you know, on such a high level
Yeah,
that no one is supposed to get it, and that equals that it's super, you know, searching. So you will find those kind of restaurants. But I went to it's a restaurant in Stockholm that's called Franzén, which is the first one who has gotten 3-star in Guide Michelin. I went there last year. That was absolutely amazing. Because they have the balance between being searching and taking care of the customers, and it was absolutely fantastic, you know. Had I
right.
not,
Nice.
had I been, if life hadn't given me, you know, if you want children and stuff like that, I probably would still be in the restaurant business.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's more or less impossible when you're, well, especially if you have 4 kids, right? Because you're working almost around the clock, and you know,
Yeah,
very late night and
yeah, and
early
I want to
mornings.
be, present. I mean, imagine you. I know how much you work. Imagine doing your work now with Arboristbutiken and have like 3 toddlers. You know,
Yeah,
can it be done? Yeah, but then you don't get to see your kids grow up. You know, so it's a choice, really.
exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. So, you know,
So
let's get into.
that is basically that. And then I had a food producing company for a couple of years with my brother, and then
Okay.
so we manufactured food, and we sold like to the stores where people could just take that portion and heat it up at home. And
Okay.
then some 9 years ago, my aunt, she got, I don't know how you say it in English, but got a stroke på svenska. Like you have a
Yeah.
blood vessel in the brain that pops, and she got half
Yeah.
side paralyzed, and she didn't have any kids of her own, and she and I was always, you know, best of friends. So one thing led to another. That's like the 10th time I've said it. She couldn't live by herself anymore. So my wife and I and her, we bought a big house in Sigtuna, and she moved in with us, or we moved in together with each other. So for a couple of years, I took care of her and the kids, and did steel work, welding work at home, and I didn't work so much in a job like this. So it was really the time now. I felt it in all my veins that I wanted to find something new, and I got into this industry, which is absolutely love it.
Exactly. One thing led to another.
Yeah, really, literally. And you need to be a bit, with self-irony. I know that I'm a bit stupid in the sense that I love to throw myself out into, venues. And I try not to let the uncertainty of the future limit, the amount of energy that I put in. So now I do like climbing courses, I do private pruning courses. Now I try to I want to swallow everything that is to know about this business and learn more. And so
That's good.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very good. And you also probably have one of the coolest company vehicles. I'm not even sure what it's called, but can you tell us about that for other arborists? Looking for a new
Absolutely.
vehicle.
I would love that. Everybody who knows me think it's so funny that I'm literally in love with my two vehicles, because normally I hate vehicles. I hate grease. I don't want to, but this one, the newest one that you're referring to, it's called Am Trackster. So it's a UTV, Am Trackster HD10. So it's a 1,000 cubic, 82 horsepowers, road legal, work monster. Yeah. So we haul timber with it, and I can plow with it. And you absolutely need one of those vehicles when you're going down with the kids to buy ice cream. It's more or less not doable without it.
So, is that U.S. made, or where do they make
Yeah,
those?
so Can-Am, it's BRP, or Can-Am, it's a American and Canadian company, BRP. And
Yeah,
so they manufacture ATVs. I have one of those also, Can-Am Outlander, that one can see in my Instagram. That so that's a four-wheel motorcycle, the Can-Am Outlander, and then I have this one, which is a UTV, utility vehicle, that
yeah,
has doors and everything, so you're a bit more protected with it.
yeah.
So I use
But
them. Sorry.
they make trikes as well, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes. They have fantastic trikes, and they make skidoo, the water mobiles. Yeah, and the Can-Am
Yeah, that's
strikes,
right.
the trikes, they are fantastic. You have the sporting versions, and you have also the LT, which is it's like a Honda Goldwing cruiser models. And
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen those.
so both my Can-Am Trackster, the UTV, and my Can-Am Outlander, they are road legal. So you only need like a normal driver's license to be able to drive them.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's
Cool.
super
So,
practical.
you don't see them very often. Is there a proper reseller in Sweden, or did you have to import them?
No, they do sell them in Sweden, absolutely. But I mean, I think it's more like yeah, you wouldn't say ranch owners in Sweden, but people who have like farms and land. So it's basically it's a workmobile. And you have
Yeah.
this basic model. Then after that, you can like add, whatever profession you have. If you are a woodman, then you have the woodman equipment. If you are more like into ranching, or if it's for hunting expeditions and so on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
so it's a
Cool.
fantastic vehicle. Vehicles.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you don't see them very often, but
No, you
you
don't.
have to bring it to the store at some point so I can see it,
Oh, absolutely. It's
or I'll come to Sigtuna maybe
yeah,
at some
we
point.
meet halfway.
Exactly. So, and some other good news is that you have recently become the first Arbortech ambassador in the Nordic countries. So, how did that happen, and what do you think it will entail for you?
Yeah, I can tell you that story, but I'm afraid that I'm going to say, and one thing led to another, and yet another time. So when I
That's okay.
so Really, when I started this, and my cousin and I and one of the other arborists, Mr. Burns, we were out to look at literally the first job. And going into that job, I have been going and buying chainsaw protective gear, pants and shoes. And obviously, I didn't know anything about what brand to get or anything. So I took, the A brand, in my size, and I felt like I was like doing the robot. I couldn't move, and I was like, yeah, probably it's like this to have protective clothing. What do I know? Yeah. And I was complaining a bit to my cousin about that. So meeting up with me for the first job and first client meeting, he had a pair of Arbotech Breedflex pants. You can get them in two lengths, so he has quite long, slender legs, and they were too short, and maybe he wanted to be nice too. So he gave me, he said, yeah, but try these on. And they were like lime green, and I was like, yeah, that really got me. The same lime green that you have on your fantastic cap. So I love that color, and
Yeah.
and I put them on, and literally it was like a choir of angels. I could move. They were like yoga panty. The fit was everything. I absolutely love them. So I was like, this is something that I need to get more of, finally. And I started to look online. What is this? Arbortech. I've never heard about anything about Arbortech before in my life, obviously. I knew about the steel and Husqvarna, but I literally didn't know anything about the business. So I was starting to look at that, and I found you, and I found Ulf at Boskus, and I started to go and buy some pieces. I wanted I bought, two pairs of you from you, and I didn't know where to buy the stuff. And
Yeah.
I was looking on this more and more, and buying the lime green pants with the blue dots on it, and the jacket. And then I saw the blue
Yeah.
ones, and I said, oh my god, I need to have the blue set also, and with the blue shoes and the green shoes. And, I really felt like it was so fantastic. I loved the look, and I loved the movability, and really loved everything about it. And I was going on and on, literally going on and on about these clothes. And I've been putting up lots of pictures on my website. And everybody who knows me, they were like fed up with me talking about this brand that was the best brand in the world and everything, according to me, obviously. So, and then someone told me, yeah, you should be a brand ambassador for that. I've never seen anybody, who gets engaged like you do. And I do that in other products also. With the Can-Am series, I have a
Yeah.
French company that's called Pelenc, and I love their chainsaws and stuff. So I have everything from Pelenc. So I'm like a brandy kind of guy, not brandy as you drink. Yeah, well, that also, but a brand kind of guy. So, I went in on Arbotech's website, and looked at brand ambassadors. And, it was one world champion tree climber there, and another guy was that, and they were like hardcore professionals, everybody. And I was like, yeah, maybe I won't match into that. But still, I put in the application, and I got contacted really fast by the head of marketing, Camilla, and we started to talk, and they were really interested and loved my application, and we got a chance to talk about, like you and I do, and
Yeah.
I was appointed brand ambassador, so that was so funny. And I remember calling when I got the the contract, if you want, that you sign. I took a
Yeah.
picture of the the name of the company and the contract, and I texted it
Yeah.
out to not my but my arborist colleagues in the company, because
Yeah.
everything went so fast, and we hadn't had a chance to talk about it, so they didn't know anything about this. And when they saw
Wow.
this, all of them, started to calling me back. They was like, what are you doing, Pierre? I've been working for 17 years, and you've been working since what, yesterday, and you're a brand ambassador. No, it was so fun. Yeah. So
So
that's literally
how long time did that?
sorry.
How long time did the process take?
No, it was really, really fast, and I was kind of, it was love at first time sight between me and Arbotech. So it was like 1 week. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
and I, I've been quite active on the social media because coming in quite recent to the job you need to be seen. Huh? You need to go out and get jobs. So I've been working quite hard with the social media, and
Yeah.
I think it's really fun also. You do your small clips, you take your photos, you do that. So that's also liberating for me. I really like to do that. It makes anything that to make life a bit more fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So
So, 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 where do you see this going? In the next, year or so.
well. One part of it is that I'm studying at the university now in Sweden with something that's called Yrkesbevis 9. So that is basically a university-run pruning course. Uh-huh. So,
Okay.
so I studied pruning at the university. So we done like the spring courses, and then in September we do that. And then I found this guy that's called Harald Kratschmer, who is like a more or less legendary arborist in Sweden. He's from Austria. So I booked private climbing classes with him, and I know that you have courses also in September. You said,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is something also. I'm educating myself. I will never be like an arborist like my cousin or the other ones going up 20 meters high. That's not for me, So I'm trying to make myself into like a hybrid between a pruner and an arborist. I have my
Okay.
climbing gear that I bought from you. I have
Yeah. Yeah.
the whole gear, and I'm starting to work with that more and more and learning. So it's that is one part of it. And the other part, obviously, since this is what I do now, is to work more, get more clients, and get the company name out to the public. Huh?
Cool.
Yeah.
So, in terms of that, where do you see the Arbor Tech collaboration going? Is there certain things that you have to do, or can you elaborate a little further on
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we can expect as
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing, the brand ambassadors, they are, I mean, in one sense, they are poster boys or poster girls, for that matter, that you represent the brand. So that's one part of it that you see, when you're posting stuff and hashtagging. That's one part. The other part is that they collaborate quite closely with their ambassadors in product evaluation. So
Yeah.
so so that's one part that's really interested, and it's really fantastic to be able to be a part of that. To testing gear, testing clothes, testing functionality, and hopefully be able to add something to their. They have a fantastic designer team themselves, of course, but they work closely with their brand ambassadors. So that is really really
Yes.
something. And this is one thing that we do with you and I, me and my company, and also as a brand ambassador. So I'm hoping that when the COVID scene, gets a bit more in the rear view mirror, hopefully. I mean, we are hoping to do some fun gigs in Sweden. You know
Yeah. Nice.
with you, the retailers. So I'm really open for not everything, maybe, but most things. You know?
Yeah, we'll have a discussion on that. But Arbortech owns another brand as well, Treehog.
Yeah,
So
Treehog.
does it entail Treehog as well?
No, I've been trying to find. I don't know if you remember when I was talking about finding a chainsaw protective jacket and the tree hog.
Yeah.
So I really don't know the status of tree hog. For now, it's Arbortech, that brand that I'm working with or cooperating with. I mean, as brand ambassador, you're not employed by them.
No, no, I
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
know, I know.
So
So,
yeah, sorry.
So I suppose in the short term you will have some exciting new stuff sent over that you're going to evaluate, and
Yeah,
so
exactly. And I mean, I think one thing for me is that my since the way I found the Arbortech or the Peleng tools or whatever, it was really that I literally had no idea the first 1 or 1.5 a month what Arbortech was or what kind of company it was, how it was worldwide, the quality. I just felt the fit and that kind of quality. I haven't used them so much, but so I literally fell in love with that brand, the look and also the functionality. And now I'm working with that every day. And for everybody who is following me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's in terms of Arbortech, I'm extremely brand heavy, but that has got nothing, literally, honestly, nothing to do with me being a brand ambassador. It's because that I
yeah,
really love that brand. Uh,
yeah, exactly.
because I am a
Cool.
brand kind of people, as I said, with my Can-Am
Yeah,
vehicles, with that and that,
yeah.
So yeah. So
And the French chainsaw brand that you showed me as well.
yeah, the chainsaw and the line chainsaw
The
and
battery pack.
the battery pack. I think that they are and the ones that I have is a top handle chainsaw. So I have
Okay.
one with a battery that you could work for like 2 days literally in a row, which one never does, of course. So that's a top handle chainsaw that I have when I work for many hours with the top handle. And then I also have a Husqvarna top handle battery saw also that I do with like
Okay.
shorter jobs. So yesterday we were clearing out a fantastic big cherry tree here in Sigtuna, and for those shorter ground jobs, it's easier
Yeah,
not to have the battery pack. So
exactly.
and then we have
Yeah,
like pruning scissors. I have also battery, so you don't destroy your hands when you're pruning like 40 apple
exactly.
trees. Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So so
I'm really in the making. I'm getting reborn.
yeah, I can hear that for sure. I'm sure people who are listening can recognize that what you're doing, that you like you said, you're a brand guy, and if you find stuff that you like, you really want to work with it, right?
Yeah. And for me, it's like in one part of my life, I did lectures about expensive and not expensive, the terms expensive and not expensive, and I'm not going to go into that so much now, but uh, I was earlier in my life, I was like fed up with the misuse of expensive. So whether something is expensive or cheap, it hasn't got anything, in my point of view, haven't got anything to do with the relation of how many money you pay for something. It's a multiple factors that make something expensive or not expensive. So expensive is when you don't get what you expected out of the product via advertisement or anything. So
Yeah,
so many of these stuff that I do buy, many people will say that they are expensive, but they are not expensive because they have the functionality. And when it comes to tools, machines, clothes that you are wearing when you're working, obviously you need to have something that doesn't contract you, especially when you're
exactly.
climbing. You have the movability. One part of it is the safety part of it, and the other thing, I'm coming into this business when I'm to do manual labor starting at 51 years old. I also have a big factor, taking care of my body. So being able to
Yeah,
move freely, it's really something special. And once you do that, it's not about the price tag. It's not that I'm rich. It's about you need to have the right tool for the right job. So,
exactly.
so and I mean, I know also with you or with Ulf at Boscos, who is another, I think, who's telling that all of you people that are retailers, that are serious retailers as you are, I mean, you also pick and choose with the brands. Okay, in what kind of products do I want to represent? And of course, you have the low quality and the high quality range and everything in the middle. And I think that I
Yeah,
personally like to I think that an offer to a client should be clear. What is it that you are offering? Are you offering
Yeah.
a product or a service which is like meant to be the lowest price, or something else? I kind of not
Yeah.
like it when like food stores advertise that we have the lowest price for a bag of food. For me, that's unsexy. It doesn't tell me anything. I have no idea
Yeah.
what the food is. It's something. And when I really started to think about this the first time, it was when my oldest child, my daughter, who is turning 13 now in September. So when I bought her first bicycle, I was looking at the Crescent, the Swedish brand Crescent high quality bike, and they were like 2,500 or 3,000 crowns for a 2-year-old kid. And I was like, I'm not going to pay that. So I bought in like a cheap bicycle for 250 or 300 crowns. That literally lasted for like 1 weekend. And then I bought another one, a bit more expensive, wrong use of the terminology by me there, for like 700 crowns. It didn't last also. It was named a bike. It looked like a bike, but it didn't have anything to do with the bike. It wasn't meant to be used. And then I went into Crescent, and I've been brand loyal to Crescent ever since, you know?
Yeah.
So how can that be expensive? The first bike I bought some 10 years ago, my younger kids still use it. And after they used it, we can sell it.
Yeah.
Quality, that's something.
I suppose it's, goes with a lot of products that, if you pay a little bit more, you get different quality, right?
Yeah. You normally, if you're lucky, you get what you pay for. And talking about
Exactly.
what I want to do or try to do in this industry, since I don't, well, now we've been working for a while, and I have this great help in my mentor and cousin Patrick, is that coming from the outside, I see another perspective that I want to. I've been so customer focused for all of my professional life, really. So I'm trying to be able to add something in that. I mean, even if we are tree workers, I find that normally you have the tree workers that do the tree work, and then when you leave the client, you don't have the ground cleared. So I try to find keys how to better the customer perspective.
Yeah.
So we have ground people who do the ground job that cost less money. I was about to say less expensive, but it's not a question about that. So we're trying to have like the arborists. They are specialized in climbing the tree works, so they should do
Yeah.
that. They should work with what they are specialized in. And then we have the ground people who are specialized in that. So we're really
Yeah.
trying to have the right person on the right job, which is
Yeah.
not in any way my own invention, but I really try to focus on that.
Yeah.
Mm?
Yeah. I agree. I think, that's, I suppose very common these days, right? That you have, you know, differentiation between, the price tags for the different types of jobs that you're doing.
Yeah.
But, if we're moving into your social media content,
Yes.
you're posting a lot of stuff on Instagram and you're present on different platforms, but most of your content is in English. So how come? Is that because you want to get a bigger base, or is that because you're more, feel better in posting things in English? What's the reason for
Well,
that?
the thing is that on my private accounts, I do most of my publishing stuff in English because I have my parts of my family. They are widespread. I have cousins in Israel, in Belgium. I have two of my cousins in Canada. So my family and lots of big part of my family lives in France. So I have like
Mm.
cousins all over the place, more or less. So I've been doing that in English for everybody. We keep in contact on like a mutual language. I'm more or less fluent in 4 languages. So I speak Swedish, English, quite comprehensive, and also I'm totally fluent in French, obviously, because I'm working there and I'm half French, and everything that is like gastronomy, food terminology. I'm 100% fluent in Italian also. not if we talk about sports and stuff or mechanical tools. So I love some of the best days in my restaurant business was that I had one couple of Swedish people sitting next to an English couple and a French and Italian. So I could like switch languages on the different tables. I absolutely love that. So when I started this Sigtuna Arboristgrupp, I started to do the post in Swedish for some reason, and then you know I realized that I had many of my cousins started to following me, so I switched to English, and I couldn't imagine that I was going to reach so many people in so short time. So that's fun. So that's it's I will keep on doing it in English. Yeah. Also to
Cool.
use a
Cool.
broader market, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're looking forward to see more posts from you there.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we're moving into, you know, you have a lot of experience in a lot of different industries, but you know, what would your best advice be for anybody that's looking to start their own company? You know, if you look at, you know, your successes and mistakes, you know, in the past.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's one obvious part is the investment part. You know, how much money do you have to invest? And uh, I like to think of investing in a company more or less how I think about when I work the stock market. You know, you play with the money that you can lose. You can afford to lose it because you never know. And the way I have done it in especially in this company, many of the stuff that I buy for the company, I also have a private use for it. So one part is obviously the investment part. Don't overinvest until you know if you get any customers. You know, I've made that mistake many times before. I go like one. So okay, maybe we'll get some. I'm just going to pop in the battery charger here.
Okay.
So you don't lose me. Investment. How much money are you going to invest? And then you need to know the market, because the problem when you are like a startup company, normally the core definition of a startup company is that you don't have a fully evaluated product. Meaning that if you don't have good knowledge or deep knowledge about your product, then you cannot know so much about your market. You know, so that's a startup. So when you come into a new business, do your research about the market that you want to go into, and see where can you find your customers. And as it is in Sweden, it's in most of the European companies, you can have different, you know, levels of companies, company types. You in Swedish, you can have enskild firma that you don't need to invest so much money in starting up, you know, where your income is more or less like your private income. I have an aktiebolag. I don't know how you say that in English, but
Registered company.
yeah.
Like
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So you can start with the
limited.
limited. Yeah. So you start with an easier form, and then you need to look, of course, about everything that involves insurances in what you are the trade that you work. You need to be insured. You need to have your staff if you have employees, and a good part when it comes to employees is to make like an umbrella and try to gather people around you that you can cooperate with. You know.
Exactly.
Those are some good basic
Some good advice there.
yeah basic advice I think. And then you know to have a structure when it comes to accounting, you need to have a structure with that. At least how it is in Sweden, you know, you can pay your tax to TVA, it's called in French, your tax. You can pay it monthly or you can pay it yearly. And many people make that, if you want, mistake that they choose to pay the taxes in yearly. So going in over that fiscal year, you think that you have a lot of money, but then suddenly you have to pay the taxes. So my recommendation would be pay the taxes every month.
Yeah.
Don't lend.
It's like the VAT that we pay quarterly. You know, that's a big surprise every quarter.
Yeah. It can be that.
Because, you know, essentially we're doing a lot of work. We're collecting money for the government, but, you know, you don't get anything for it.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of reports.
Yeah.
Just to gather their the VAT money.
Yeah.
But.
So, and that is another thing that one need to see when going into a business. You need to have, I mean, in this industry, I mean, obviously you need to have a car, you need to have tools. It's quite costly to start up this. So I would say that had it not been for my cousin, I'm 100% sure that I wouldn't have gone into this business.
Yeah.
That's really something. And then it's like with any company, it doesn't suffice with one day of a good job. You need to be able to find different jobs. So I've been trying to in Swedish we say don't put all your eggs in the same basket, and in France we say that don't put all your figs in the same basket, and that is a generally good tip, whether you're talking about eggs or figs, that try to spread spread the risk. And also, so I do we do garden landscaping jobs for private person. It can be to plant some flowers or trim the hedges, as well as we do the felling, the crown stabilization. We do lawn cutting. So I've tried to spread, because I don't know where I will find most of my clients. It's a new company, so I have no idea. So one thing is try to find the cooperatives, like I did with this Överholms, the realtor in Sigtuna. That's one thing, to get the job. So one need to be dynamic. It's like when you read history, it's like the rise and fall of different cultures. Most, I would say all, but most of in most rises of most cultures, it's really significant to see the curve in the beginning. It's so dynamic. You are inventing stuff, you are exploring, doing that. You need to have the dynamics, and when before it's about to like tip over, you see that the dynamic part, that factor of dynamics, it disappears, and then it's like a downfall. So to keep the dynamics is also really important, and I try to keep.
There's another expression for that, and that is fat and happy.
Yeah, fat and happy, exactly.
Like the Roman Empire.
Yeah. And then when you are fat and happy, you don't in company wise or culture wise, you are content. You stop. And these things that I do with the social media and finding fantastic clothes before becoming a brand ambassador, these are tools that I use to keep my dynamics going. So I'm having fun. I try to have fun. It's hard labor, but I have fun doing that, and I try to use all the different tools in the box to have fun. And one part is social media. So that's why I threw myself into this brand ambassadorship, because it's fun, and it's
cool.
Yeah.
And now since we're talking about fun, we're coming into your funniest job story.
My funniest job story.
So tell us about your funniest job story. What happened?
What happened? So I need to think about that. So focusing on Sigtuna Arboristgrupp or in my life.
Your choice.
Well, most of the things that I've done so far has been really fun, but it hasn't been like funny thing. It was one of the questions on the web questionnaire for being a brand ambassador, is that if one have had any close calls, and I said that nothing yet, at least nothing that I can brag about. So it's the same with this. I'm so new in the business, so it hasn't been so much fun stuff. Let me think. Well, it's fun stuff all the time, but not funny in that way. But while I'm thinking, I can tell you about the fun thing that was terrible at the time, but from my restaurant days. So on my in the first month that I was working as a waiter, you know, when you're supposed to serve the lady first and then you serve the man. So I was working in a small restaurant in Sigtuna again when I started, and I was doing the lunch service, and we were serving soup. Today's menu was soup. So the old lady, she was sitting in the sofa, looking out on the restaurant, and her husband sat opposed to her on the other side. So I, you know, clicked that I'm going to serve the old lady first. So I leant over to her to serve her the soup, and suddenly the man, he was hurling, and he stood up from the chair, and he was screaming. So as I was leaning forward to serve the lady, I had poured the whole portion of really hot soup in his neck. And my first reaction before I understood what I had done, I was like pissed at this old man, that how come he can like stand up when I'm trying to serve. And once I realized that I poured this really, really hot soup down his neck, I literally started to cry. And I felt so ashamed. And I was like, I'm never doing this job ever again. And he was really, really nice about it, even though he was like really scolded, that poor old man. He was like in his 80s. So he saw how I reacted, and he came into the kitchen. He comforted me and said, you know, and so he was the reason that I continued to do this
Really?
this
That was a
job.
nice gesture of it.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Cool. So, did you know the guy that was running the restaurant that was on on the water?
Yeah, båthuset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Lars Kempe in Cuba, and actually Cuba, the head chef, when they sold this restaurant, the head chef is gone into pruning also here in Sigtuna, so he does pruning jobs also. So we are more or less colleagues now.
Yeah, yeah. We were eating there a couple of times. It was a very, very nice place, actually.
Yeah, it is. It was always a good restaurant, but now you have, since a year back, I think, it's really, literally, it sits on the lake, as you say. It's called the Boathouse. It's a fantastic restaurant. They do really, really nice, nice food there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's something to do.
You know, Pierre, we're coming into the last topic,
Yes.
and since you haven't really been climbing that long, but we're talking about your favorite piece of gear of all time in the arborist industry. And I have a feeling what you're going to say.
Yeah, so I do the DRT, the double rope technique. That's what I've started to do. And again, I've been looking at the equipment that well, not my arborists, because they're not my employees, but my arborist colleagues have, and I've been wanting to get that and that and that, and they've been really, obviously for safety reasons, helpful and helping me to pick out the right equipment to start with. And I remember when I did my first climbing, I did it home where I live with my cousin and Mr. Burns, and I went up in the tree, and I loosened the knot, and I loosened it too fast. So I like literally fell down. It wasn't long, but the feeling was that, that really caught me by surprise. But the double rope technique, I like that because, I think that had I started when I was like 19 years old or much younger, I was more of a daredevil back then. But now it's like I want to take it easy and be safe, obviously up in the tree. So I really, really like that. And now I'm starting to feel that I feel safe leaning, trusting the equipment. It wasn't that long ago that I bought my tree traffic equipment from you. It was it like a month or 1.5 months ago? So
yeah, something like that.
yeah. So I'm using that quite a lot at home. I have a really, really, really big and powerful cherry tree. So I go out there and I hang with the equipment. But when I do climbing now, I only do it when I have my cousin with me in the beginning until I can get my courses. So I really like the swinging part and coming to a point where I can trust the equipment, Obviously, intellectually, I know that I can trust the equipment, but it's a feeling. You need to get the muscle memory in it. And that's really a fantastic feeling. And I see myself, the more and more safer I find myself, the more funner it is, you know. And
Cool.
learning how to interact with my legs and arm, you know, not doing like circus kind of stuff, trying to pull myself up. I would love to be able to do that, but I can't do that. You know, I can hardly do it one chin up, I think, maybe one or two.
Well, I suppose you're going to get some more practice and get stronger, right?
Yeah, yeah. Get stronger and working with the technique. There's a restaurant school in America that's called CIA. So that's the Culinary Institute of America. And I have a dear friend of mine who went to that school. And one of the head teachers was like a legend in the three-star Guide Michelin legend. He weighed like 150 kilo, an Austrian guy, and they were doing like they were doing like a bechamel sauce, and one of the students asked this really huge Austrian guy, what's the trick? What's the trick to get this sauce so smooth? The bechamel sauce is a white sauce. What's the trick? And he got so mad, this Austrian head chef, so he like banged this like 100-kilo hand in the kitchen sink, and he screamed that there is no trick, only technique. So there is no trick, only technique. So I'm learning the technique. And it's like in many ventures that one do in life or in science, is that the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know, or the more you realize, okay, I need to learn this also. So I'm really like super hungry for knowledge in this trade, learning how to do my cuts better, finding, the perfect point where to cut the branch, how to cut the branch, why do we need to cut the branch, and also I hear the words of arborists that the ladder it's only a matter of transportation. It's a transportation tool up in the tree. It's not a safe working platform. So I think about that all the time, And with all the pruners I've seen standing, 3-4 meters up on the ladders, whether it's the Japanese Hakinawa ladders that I love, I go up with the ladder and then I use my safety equipment to be safe,
Good. Okay.
So
yeah,
maybe we do another TreeTopChat like in 6 months or in a year, and I will have more more flesh on the
see
bones.
What else Arbortech is going to bring out as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting to see. I probably need to tail you to see like the car manufacturers when they're testing out the vehicles here. Everything is unmarked, so you're probably going to be running around in some clothes with non-arborist Arbortech branding. I need to tail you in Sigtuna, I guess.
Yeah, you should do that, and
find out what's coming.
Yeah, and one thing that I have been doing also again before the brand ambassadorship is, they have such a great line in work clothes for like homeowners. So I have many friends who are interested in buying this for their own recreational purposes. So yeah.
Yeah, so and you know where to send it.
Exactly, I do. So we should do a fun Arbortech thing with you in the store.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm not sure we have any questions.
No.
I think, we had a conversation for an hour, so I suppose, we covered everything today. So thanks, everybody that was watching. Thank you very much, Pierre, for taking your time to tell us about, what you're doing, the ambassadorship and all that. So I suppose I'll see you in a while. And everybody have a great weekend. And you too, Pierre. Take care. See you around. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Take care.